Hey Rick, I had to call you to tell you that the food that you brought to the party last night was wonderful. It made me think about my grandmother's cooking. Where did you get that food, brother?
I went down to Thomas Rib Shack to pick up the ribs, but when I got there, I seen that they had more than just ribs. I seen baked chicken, fried chicken, corn muffins, vegetables, apple pie, peach pie, and I looked around and I seen a sign that told me that they got chitlins and oxtails on Sunday. Oh, all I can tell you, go down to 2931 15th Street or just give them a call like I did at area code 205-759-5010. Thomas Red Shack, Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Get your event jumping with Caroline Shines and Impulse Band. Impulse Band has been together for over 7 years, and they haven't missed a beat yet. The band has and will play in various venues and doesn't mind traveling to you. Being led by Alabama Blues Hall of Famer herself, Mrs. Caroline Shine. Impulse has opened up for Bobby Rush, L.J. Eccles, Tank, Fantasia, Calvin Richardson, just to name a few. The Impulse Band will surely fit your need for entertainment. Dial 205-887-6859 or 205-887-5026. Or you can just email them at shinesbrightly@yahoo.com. Caroline Shines and Impulse, the band made just for you.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the all new TTown 411 report, as well as our community conversations. We're broadcasting live from McKinstry Banquet Hall, located at 5480 Jug Factory Road here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It's a special place for special people for all special occasions. We're also broadcasting live on Sound Booth Radio with my good friend Mike. Mike, are you there?
Yeah, Derek, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead and tell them how can they sound in on Sound Booth Radio and Sound Booth TV.
Sure thing, Daryl. Check us out on the radio side of Sound Booth Radio. Just go to your iOS or your Google Play Store, download the Live 365 app. Uh, Once you download that app, then go to the search bar, type in Sound Booth Radio 106.1. That'll get you on with us on the radio side of Sound Booth Radio. Check us out on the video side. Go to your Facebook, uh, Michael K. Wilson, Sound Booth Radio. Um, or you can go to YouTube, type in Sound Booth Radio 106.1, and that'll get you on with us. That'll get you on with us on the video side.
Well, as always, Veronica Taylor provides us with the COVID update each and every week here on the program. We want to thank Veronica each and every week for this. And the number as of COVID-19 update as of today, DCA System released their weekly report on tomorrow, Wednesday, June 29th. Per New York Times of June 27th, the latest trends show an average of 1,794 cases per day were reported in Alabama in the last 2 weeks. Cases have increased by 65% from the average 2 weeks ago. The copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticisms, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. We also like to also offer this disclaimer: the opinions expressed in this presentation are my personal opinion and must not be construed as representing the opinion of any institution with which I am or have been affiliated in my professional life. And that pretty much goes along a lot of the people that comments on this show. A lot of the people we have that comment on the program are professionals, work in other professions, and by no means just represent the opinion of any of those companies or organizations that they uh, represent or work for. Uh,
Daryl, we having some problems with the telephones tonight, are we?
Well, I was waiting to hear from you. I hadn't received any calls.
Yeah. Actually, I've called and I got Veronica on my line here right now,
Mm-hmm.
and your phone going straight to voicemail. So
Let's see what's going on. And that's 205-826-7661.
yes, sir.
Okay. Try it again now. Let's see. If someone would
All right. Hold on one second.
make a call. It's been on. I was wondering. I thought it was something wrong with you. No.
Still going to the voicemail.
Okay. Let me turn it off and turn it back on. Before
Yeah, I did.
it's paid. It's paid for, and it get to the point where they want you to buy a new one, and you be like, nope, I'm not finna buy another phone. I'm not finna do another contract. None of that kind of stuff. So, matter of fact, I got an email saying, "Oh, you are now eligible for a new upgrade." So it's strange that the phone is acting up today, and I get
That's how it
those
normally
same
goes.
emails.
That's how it normally goes. The only thing you can do is when they call themselves giving you a free phone, take that free one. Uh,
Oh, ain't no
that,
such thing as free in this situation. Me
I
and
know.
AT&T already going at it over some other stuff, but that's a whole nother ordeal. I turned it off, turned it back on. Hopefully that'll get it fixed. I want to say hello to everyone that's chiming in. Betty Hopkins, thanks for chiming in with us. Hopefully we'll give some younger people an opportunity to chime in with us, y'all, because this effect what we're discussing tonight affects um, the young generation to come. Um, Now, I am going to say this before we get into this, and Veronica, you're still on the line with us, correct? Okay. And there's pros and cons on, some people are glad Roe versus Wade been changed, and then there's some that's not. And so we're gonna listen to, if someone has want to call in and debate or give their opinion. We're gonna listen. Mike, I'm gonna see. Can I call you? Hold on one second. 310 310-667. So I believe I'm back on. If I hear that,
Yeah.
all right. That's what it was. I had to turn it off and turn it back on, I guess. But yeah, we want to give everybody a chance to be a part of the other conversation. I want to say hello to Tina Sanders and all the people that's chiming in. Of course, on last Friday, everyone did get an opportunity to hear about the Roe versus Wade being overturned. What that mean was pretty much simply uh, women no longer has the choice of having an abortion, pretty much in certain states, and I think Illinois and California is putting some things right now. Um,
It
but
basically said that there's no more federal protection, and the states can dictate whether or not they want to allow you to do uh, abortion. And most of the states have outlawed it. And of course, like Alabama was one of the first ones to shut things down. As they were speaking of the abortion clinic here in Tuscaloosa
hmm
um, today, actually on the news. So, um, and I think they on Friday they had over. I think they said 200 abortions that were scheduled for that Friday that they were trying to find a another state that those people could go to have
correct.
their abortions. So it was something that happened very, very quick, and um, yeah, I think it's being felt all the way around. There was a lot of people that were upset about it. And Veronica, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about it. If are you still on the phone? I am. Okay. Well, I mean, it's just what they did. They just really ripped the rug out without any and without any clear cut way to help women. Because leaving it to the states is fine and dandy, but in California, Governor Newsom, I think his name is, he has made it where they will help, and New York, Letitia James, Attorney General of New York, um, Illinois, they have stated that they will try their best to assist people, to help people. And because people can't, a lot of the times, those who can afford abortions will still get them anyway. And that's why I made a post saying, what about their side pieces, the congressman's side pieces? Because a lot of them get abortions, and whether they're legal or not, they were going to make sure that they get them safely anyway. But what about people who are impoverished? People who can't afford to travel to safe states. And then there's still those laws, like they've been saying, they still the laws and people's situations are up in the air because what if they travel to a state who protects them legally, as such as California, but you go back to your state, if someone turns you in, because you know they have these trigger laws where somebody can turn you in if someone even took you or drove you to have an abortion. So what about those laws when you go back home? What are they going to say? What about the woman has issues and she's got back to her home state? I don't see that being a problem. If she's having any issues, no doctor should be prosecuted or penalized to treat this woman because she's no longer at the point of having an abortion. She's already had the abortion and she had it in a state that was legal. So the Supreme Court did what they intended to do ever since Bush started nominating people.
Veronica, let's
Especially like Clarence Thomas. And he's sitting here talking about revisiting LGBTQ rights
yeah,
and same-sex marriage when his marriage has only been legal since 1968. These
let's
people don't care anything about him, and he's the only one who doesn't seem to see that.
Veronica, let's look at that same situation as you were speaking, where it's legal in one state and coming back to Alabama and it's being illegal. And we can look at that from a recreational marijuana uh, point of view. You got certain states that's illegal to have a certain amount of marijuana, and there are some states that allow it up to a certain amount for recreational use. So, in other words, you go to Colorado, visit a relative, and you legally buy um, for recreational purposes. What is a quarter pound of marijuana, I think, and just so happen you bring it back.
Oh, 3 ounces.
Is it
Place
3 ounces?
down to 1 3 ounces.
Okay, but I don't want to. I'm just saying this is the same scenario, and you decide you want to drive back home to Alabama, and you get pulled over for a tail light, and you have the marijuana smell.
I see what you're saying, but I see it as different because that's a person's. This is somebody who chose to purchase a
It's
product,
but
be it legal or illegal in all the states.
but it's well would not be looked upon as you're leaving a state, and I'm pro-choice. I'm gonna just put that out there. Let me make sure everyone understands. I'm pro-choice. I think the woman has the right to decide. Let me make sure people can see me when I'm saying this. I think a woman has the right to decide if she or she does not wants to have a child. Um, I look at so many things that's wrapped around this decision, and I praise. Sunday, I heard a pastor makes a valid point, and he made the valid point about the fact we the same people that are creating this law still is being hypocritical of when the child is born and don't wants to invest in education, food, WIC,
Exactly.
things of that nature. So
That's the part that I wanted to say too.
I applaud.
I didn't cut you off.
I applaud that pastor for making that comment, but that was just his personal opinion, and that's my personal opinion too, because it's a complicated situation. This is very complicated in some shape, forms, or fashion. Now, you might have a certain situation. Let's just say incest. You have situation where people are raped, and you have certain situation where this is a, let's say, a person that just can't afford to take care of a child. Period. Yes, they had sex. They got impregnated, but she already know that I or we cannot afford to take care of this child. Why put the burden?
You open that child up to a potential abusive situation at that point.
Very abusive, under malnourished, mistreated, whatever it might be, under love, whatever you might want to call it. But the idea of the woman having the choice to do that is my personal opinion. I do go with that, but at the same time, we go across the state line and buy lottery tickets, correct?
Right.
Can think about it. Can we or can we not be arrested for having possession of Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, and Mississippi, Florida's lottery tickets in our possession? If it's illegal to have, if it's illegal to have lottery going on.
See, that's what my thing said. That's why I feel like the Supreme Court just threw this all over the place and they just snatched the rug because they were so adamant about their evangelical beliefs that they just snatched the rug with no anything, no solutions, no avenue, no way out, just leave it to the state. Mm-hmm. Because it's technically, if you look at it that way, like you said, you get God forbid you get pulled over for something simple, and then they see lottery tickets. Technically, I guess that police officer can make an arrest or give you a citation, maybe, because I think marijuana is getting to the point of citation, so maybe they can give you a citation. But 9 times out of 10, that's what it's going to probably be now. The way the laws are becoming, it's going to be a citation, not an arrest. So if a woman goes to have an abortion in another state, give her a citation. If it hurts them that bad for somebody to go and do something to their body in a safe manner, give her a citation. Because you're going to have a lot of women doing what they used to do back in the 20s. You're not going to be able to prosecute some of those women because they're going to really, really hurt themselves. And my thing about it is, it doesn't matter what side, if you're pro-choice or anti-abortion, it's about the right. To me, it's about right because each of us have to stand before God and handle our own flaws, our own sin, and our own faults. Mm-hmm. So whether you just, and it's amazing to me how many preachers are understanding this. We all have to stand before Him. So what makes man God? When you say, I don't want you, they didn't do it when it was time for the man, and that was to protect the public health. A woman having an abortion is not going to hurt or harm anybody but potentially herself and their child and their fetus. But you got people who didn't want to wear a mask for public safety. Those are the same people telling a woman she can't have an abortion. She can't have a 13-year-old. Her parents can't decide that if she, God forbid, something happens from a family member or just whatever, whoever, that she has to have that baby. And then you're talking about putting babies in the system of adoption and foster homes that's already overwhelmed. I've known people who have said, I have to get 1 or 2 of those foster kids because you get a lot of money out of them. I've heard people say, we taking care of these babies y'all having. Okay, so now you're taking the choice away from a woman to do that. Me, myself, I wouldn't, abortion is not what I would do. But you never know. You get an older woman, becomes pregnant, thought she was going through menopause. Do you? How can you make her have this child when she may not be mentally equipped, physically equipped to have this child? And like Darryl said, yes, you have sex. But they're getting to the point now, and this is what pisses me off so bad about it Friday. Clarence Thomas specifically said they're opening the door to birth control, in vitro fertilization. So that means it's the morning after pill illegal since abortion is illegal. So they just threw paint on the wall and walked away. Because even though a lot of this stuff is state to state, I guess all of it's on the border down state to state. What are the insurance companies going to do?
We got another.
Are they not going to? What are the pharmacists going to do? Are they not going to let you purchase the morning after pill anymore?
Well,
how far back does it go? A lot of states are saying 6 weeks. Some people don't even know, so that's why they take the morning after pill. So are you going to even allow the morning after pill? To me, it's about rights. The Roe versus Wade, a precedent. It was something that's been 50 years. So our grandbabies, our daughters and granddaughters won't be able won't have this right that we've had for the past 50 years.
Right.
I just wanted to say before we get too much further, we got at least Young on the phone with us.
Well, before we get, I got Jesse on the phone. Let him make a comment. I had him on hold too. So, Jesse, if you want to go first, you can, and then we'll let Lisa go next. Jesse. Okay, Lisa, go ahead. I guess he's
Hey y'all.
okay.
I think that one thing that we're not taking into account is I feel like the Republicans, the conservatives, this is a big push to help slow down the decline of the white population. Because we know who accounts for the majority of the abortion in this country. It's racially motivated and it's about population control.
Okay.
She stated it. The congresswoman the other day got called on TV stated it. Then came back with her little mixed grandkids. See, that's what you don't want. You're okay with them mixed ones, because see, the ones who are mixed right now, and her tutelage, they can make sure that they groom them and send them toward white relationships. It's all racially motivated. That woman specifically said it. Thank you to President Trump for saving the white race, basically. That's what she said. And so, and if you notice, they're letting Russians come over here. It's no big deal for them to have anchor babies. But when Hispanics come, it's a big deal.
Hello, Daryl, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, we can hear you, Jeff.
Okay, I just had a technical issue with my mic. Yes, going back to what I was going to say. Sorry for breaking off from you guys. What I was going to say is kind of leading more into what Veronica just stated when the lady said to I didn't hear about it, but I've been aware of this for quite a while. Thank you for saving the white race. So this abortion ruling that the Republicans all of a sudden have taken so this high interest in, and they built the courts to favor a decision on making this. I knew during these confirmations when they put what the Kavanaugh guy and that the white lady, I don't know her name.
Amy.
But yes, when they put Kavanaugh in, they asked him, and he gave this long rhetoric type of speech of a precedent and how it was this and that. And I knew he was. I don't know you guys, but I knew he was just lying, because I've always known that. See, it's about saving the white race. It's about keeping a majority in whites here in America. Because you think about it, when the precedents was set, it was during a time when we were just starting all the different races, African Americans, we were populating, rapidly. Then the Hispanics came over, Puerto Ricans, moved here to the United States, became a part of the United States, and they started populating rapidly. So now the Republicans and the white European Americans, that's what they are, they started taking notice. And then you rewind and go back a couple of years. If you look at statistics, white young females are the ones that are leading the pack now in abortion. So therefore, we're trending now as the majority, and they're trending towards the minority. So now the Roe versus Wade becomes more prevalent to them to to abolish because they're losing ground on the majority, on power, on political power. Because in politics, numbers is power more so than anything. And
Giselle tried to tell somebody that, and she tried to argue me down, but they're gonna do what they want to do because it's about the money. Yes, it is
no,
about the
it's
money.
not about.
Just had
It's
an
about
election,
money.
but numbers prove that numbers are powerful.
Exactly. It ain't about the money. And power is numbers in America. The power is in the numbers, in the voting. And so when you
80
have
million people still didn't vote. 80 million people still
right,
didn't vote.
exactly. But when you have
But that's where
president,
they got everybody fooled at too. They got everybody fooled that oh well we're gonna do what we want to do anyway. So ain't no sense of y'all going out to vote. But they are pleading for their people to go out and vote, and they're going out and voting, and that's why you got what you have in the seats that you have.
And right, you want to know something? Yeah, you want to know something, Mike? You're so right. But you want to know what I hear also? I hear in our own community. Man, what's the point of voting? Hey, you got to be kidding me. I actually had to explain to a young lady, a young black girl. I had to explain to her how politics work. She had made a comment on the news. I was in a lounge, right? And then they was talking about President Biden. And they said, I don't know, I can't stand. I don't even like him. I don't even like that President Biden. He just said, I said, well, why? Young girl, probably about 22, 23. Now listen here. I said, well, why don't you like President Biden? Well, he ain't do anything. He ain't done nothing. He said he was gonna do this and all. Now, this is what a lot of young folks are living by. I said to her, I said, you got to understand how politics works. I said, now he's the president, but there's so much he can do. It has things he want done has to go through Congress, then go to the Senate to be approved to come to him to sign off on. But you have a Senate that's blocking everything. You understand? So if the Senate blocks it, then he'll never get it to sign into law. No matter, and he has so much executive power. I said, did you realize that? And this child had no idea. But she had took an opinion on President Biden as and chose and felt not to like him because simply he wasn't getting anything done that she felt like he said he was going to get done. But she didn't know why it wasn't getting done. She just knew it wasn't getting done. And see, this is the problem. A lot of young folks see things not getting done, but they have no idea why it's not getting done. So
exactly, Jesse, and they really need to be educated.
Educate. We have to be the ones to take time. I tell people, stop generalizing your conversation with young folks, with anybody. Be specific in your conversations with them when you're telling them something. Because when you generalize things, you leave room for them to interpret it, a person to interpret it their way instead of the actual way. So I would say,
you know what? Those some of these young people in the early 30s, they were young, like maybe just becoming old enough to vote when Obama took office, right? I know my daughter was the first time voting. Guess what they said by the time Obama got on? He ain't do that. They're the same ones who were 18 who are now saying Biden didn't do that. But what that tells me is they were never educated. They're not even educated to know the simple system of policy.
Right. They don't have a clue how politics work. They think the president gets in there and he can do any and everything. And they don't understand his limit. Yeah, they still don't. They still haven't grasped what power a president actually has. He has some executive power, but he can't utilize executive power to pass budgets and laws. He can't do that. The small things, minuscule things. I'm not saying everything's minuscule, but he has some executive power on some things, some policies, but he cannot change things that affect the whole country as a law. He has no power.
That's where when Trump got in and he kept signing all those executive orders.
Yeah, it was minuscule.
Well, but then the Senate go right back behind him and help him get it through, push it through. So
right.
That reason why they think that he did so much. That's what I have talked to a lot of supposedly educated folks that was like, well, what all was wrong with Trump? Y'all been talking about Trump and he didn't do nothing wrong. And well, you know what I'm saying?
What did he do?
I mean, hey, one thing we're talking about young people, man. They kind of if it's in their face, they see it, and
this is
you know
why
what
I
I'm saying.
say,
But they don't know all the ins and outs of everything.
right. They don't know the intricacies, right?
Like
That's
I,
why I say,
Let me jump in. Let
when we
me
were
jump
in
in on
school,
that
we
part,
had a
Mike.
class called government. I don't know if they even
Hey,
still
Shauna.
require you to take government
Let me
in high school anymore. I don't know if that's still a thing.
let me jump in right there, Mike, and I just kind of want to make a point right here. Out of the people that I tagged for this particular segment tonight, 85% of them were women, and I tried to find as many young women, for as from 25 to 30 years old or 35-year old, as I could to jump in on this. This affects our younger generation more than they even more than they even know right now. I mean, they seeing Roe versus Wade as that don't even that ain't that don't, it. But when it happened, they don't know the fundamentals of who, where, why, and how can you get this done. And then they figure out, well, I can't afford to I can't afford to go to Illinois, or I don't know nobody that can take me, and I don't want to have this baby. So now they're looking for what you call what they call it back alley delivery service.
Mm-hmm.
You
That's
know,
right.
this
they looking,
is a
it's
very
And
important
that was
comment.
one of the concerns that a lot of people were bringing up. Like they didn't look at any of the other variables that would happen when you overturn something. And this is me, and maybe I'm showing ignorance here and not knowing. But I thought that once everything made it to the Supreme Court and they have made a decision on it, I thought that was in the litigation. I thought that was the end of it. That there was no other thing to be said.
Done deal, pretty
The
much,
high
huh?
court had ruled on it, and so therefore that's how it is. So
no.
they did that 50 years ago. I'm trying to understand why did they why is there relitigation on something that had already been if that's the case, then every time we
They
get new
already,
judges, we supposed to relitigate stuff.
you think if they made final judgments like that, we would think that that would be it. I understand what you're saying, Mike, but that's not the first precedence that's been overturned through the court. You know, there's been others. Yeah, but this is right. This is the argument that they make, and this is the crazy part. So they say that we went back in there and we overturned it because we want it to be for the it's supposed to be done by the people and not the courts. This is what those justices said, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But keep in mind, even back then, the majority of the country wanted it. So in essence, it was you may have stepped maybe a little out of your boundaries, and that's what you feel back then, but it was still done in the wants of what the country wanted anyway. So then I would say you should have just left it alone. Now it'd be different if most of the country wanted it to be anti-abortion, and some courts went in there and said, "Oh no, we're gonna have it where you can have an abortion," and then 50 years later you go in and say, "Wait a minute, back then 70% of the country wanted to be anti-abortion, so we're gonna take it and overturn it, and we're gonna let the country now make that decision as a people as a whole." That I can understand that, but that's not the case. The
No,
country wanted it then.
well,
If
the
you look
case.
at everything, especially and I got to say his name again. Since Trump been in office, everything that was how it is being changed. They're trying to take away everything. And once again, why this is such a very important topic that we're discussing tonight is because it only opens the door for so many different things. And even Clarence Thomas, old coon himself, and I don't call people coons like that all the time, but he is.
Sambo.
He got up there and said that this is going to open the door for other litigation to overturn some of the other laws that were set by the Supreme Court. His own marriage has only been legal since 1968. His own marriage. So if he wants to do it that way, then take it to interracial marriage then. See, they'll leave that alone for him because he's been such a Steve and such a Sambo flunky for him. So they'll leave that one alone.
See, that's what I'm saying.
And only out of the 9 justices, 6 of them are in their 50s and 60s. So young people need to pay attention. Because those things can be overruled. They're going to fight hard to talking about expanding it.
Yes.
Even Biden didn't want to expand it, not for stupid reasons. He had good reasons. But they're going to fight long now, and now he's considering it. But they're going to fight against that. And Stephen Breyer is about to retire. They're going to probably try to hold on to that one so that Biden can't nominate somebody else in there. And this time, we were one vote away from not turning it over altogether. But this time, now that the makeup is 63, Roberts, who will tend to vote with the liberals, even his vote didn't help prevent the overturn of it. Because it was still 5-4. So that one that they stole, that nomination that they stole from Obama, would have saved Roe versus Wade.
Let's look at. So let's look at
this up probably before the first Bush, but at least since Bush, they've been setting this up to try to overturn it.
So we're saying this is a state versus religion situation or debate, pretty much, where the state has decided or the government has decided on a woman can or cannot have an abortion. And basically, you have some people that stand by their religious belief, but at the same time, under their religious belief, they do not do anything extra to help the female or the child continue to have a flourished life as it goes on. So, in other words, the government's saying you're going to have the baby, and if you have the baby, we're going to deny you medical assistance, health care, and proper food and home living conditions and education to even be able to possibly flourish in life, to even have
and they're not going to protect you with gun laws, and they're not going to protect the baby by creating gun laws.
Right, and so if the government's saying we have a right to step into one's life, or we say the government has a right to protect life. Well, 2 things they're failing on. They're failing on the gun rights situation because they're not protecting innocent people from being killed by all this gun violence. And 2, they're not doing a great job of making sure children are protected through to have a decent life, y'all. A decent life. So the government is failing in that situation. There again, politics are
about welfare.
Politics is a part of it. So this goes back to
because now you're gonna have a lot of people who are in that lower middle class and poverty level that's gonna have it. And we ain't talking about just African Americans and Hispanics. We're talking about white America too.
That's correct.
They're going to now have to go and apply for welfare to help take care of these babies that they no longer can get rid of. And I hate to say it like this, but they can no longer abort because they know their situation.
Yes.
They know that they got an abusive spouse, or they having health issues, or the bigger thing that they haven't even looked at this variable either is the incest and the rape of women, and then you're gonna make them have these children. And look, they'll say it. Women, they'll probably be like, "Hey, how can I love my attacker's child?"
So
that's what I'm saying. Now you gonna bring a baby up, and the first thing that you get is, well, there were so many innocent babies that were losing their lives through abortion.
Mike, let's look at let me make sure I let other people know the numbers that might want to call in. It's on the screen. Please join the conversation, 310-6067 or 826-7661. You can join the conversation tonight. This is a very important conversation our community needs to be having because it affects the new generation of the new millennium, I guess you could say. And I'm gonna applaud our mayor for taking a step forward and tweeting about the fact of health care, provide extending Medicaid in our state or accepting the money. Because here in the state of Alabama, we have a low poverty area. We have some of the poorest counties in the United States, right here in the state of Alabama. So,
and our good old governor will not expand Medicaid.
No.
She dead set to get expanded Medicaid.
And one of her conversations,
like I was saying earlier, they try to convince everybody else that it ain't no need because we gonna win anyway. But if everybody was going to turn out and vote for Flowers for governor, it would be an upset. I'm telling you,
yes,
it'll be an upset because they just know for a fact that KI is going to win again because they feel deep in their heart that nobody else is going out. They looked at the numbers from the primary and they was like, oh yeah, we got this easy. So they know who's going to go out and who's not going to go out.
You're absolutely right, Mike, and that's why
we got to get them down to vote
to make these decisions that she's making.
But she in her ads for dealing with abortions, it was very much known. It's kind of hypocritical on what they are saying. If you want to protect life, then help provide for this life. Help give more extended Medicaid. Help give more money for WIC and all kinds of food stamps or whatever I don't even know what they call food stamp no more. They used to call it food stamps, but they call it something else now. Give more housing. How about provide more housing, affordable housing for the young ladies and for the children? And how about where do the men get punished in this situation?
Well, part of it is they won't allow the men to stay in the house with their family. If you get on Section 8 on some of them places, then the man can't be on the lease. Or you won't be, what I'm saying? So that's separating the family all in itself.
Well, Mike, I guess I wouldn't say in that particular perspective. I guess in this perspective, where is the man's right violated? In other words, so only thing in this situation, if a woman,
once again,
hold on. Will he be made to pay? Will he be made to pay child support? No.
I mean, once again, Darryl, even under these circumstances, the man's rights doesn't matter. How he feels really doesn't matter. Even especially in this certain situation, because say
in this situation, the only feelings that matter are old Caucasian evangelicals.
Old white like it is. Old white folks.
Old Caucasian evangelicals. Time you could say, well, why don't y'all go and have vasectomies then for birth control? Mm-hmm. And that ain't on the table. So.
No. Actually, a lot more men decide to speak up because it's about rights. What if they start to tell men who want to have a vasectomy that they can't?
Yes.
Men have started to speak up, and a lot of men think it's funny. Oh, they ain't gonna make me get. Well, nobody thought they would reverse a 50-year law precedent. They have 50 years, 50-year precedent. They can do whatever they really want to do. They can attempt to. That's what I'm saying. They can attempt to do this for years, and now they're done.
What's going to stop them from this getting to the voter right act?
Yes. Exactly. Affirmative action. Clarence Thomas has been one of the main ones trying to just basically throw affirmative action out the window.
Yes. Yes.
A person who got to where he is by no doubt affirmative action. Mm-hmm. I don't care if he say he didn't. He's lying.
Of course he's lying.
But here again,
that's what they all do.
Here again, and I see some young ladies, young, when I mean young, I mean 25, 35-year-old young ladies that I see are visiting the program. I'd like to hear I want to hear some young people's opinion about this because this is really important. Like the young lady I have on the screen right now. She said your rights are next.
Exactly. It's not really even about if you're pro or anti-abortion.
True.
This law has been in place for 50 years, and even people who are anti, when they did the poll, 90% of Americans said, leave it alone. 80%, 90% said that if it's due to the mother's health or well-being, we'll leave it alone.
Mm-hmm.
But they visited anyway. And like I said, regardless.
That lets us know that it was political, and they're not supposed to be, even though they're conservative. Like I always say, politics is in everything.
Yes.
If it wasn't, why would they need to be considered conservative justices and liberal justices? Politics affects the way they think, and politics affects the way that they will judge, just like it affects the way politicians govern.
Mm-hmm. And Veronica, you've been saying that.
It doesn't matter if it's local. It doesn't matter if they have to state what they are or not. Whatever a person believes, their political affiliation or their political lean, even if you get an independent, if he leans Republican, most likely his decisions will be that way. And few may not, but most likely, and so he calls himself an independent, but most likely, whichever way he leans, that's where his vote, his beliefs are going to go.
Veronica, you've been saying that for a long time, and I agree with you 100%. That
because it pissed me off so bad when people in the city were saying, these are supposed to be some of the most educated people. And I don't take education from nobody because you don't have to go to school to have education. But you know how you have those people, you just can't tell them nothing. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting here saying it matters what they feel and believe politically. The way they vote on a state level and on a national level matters locally. It matters. That's their mind frame. That's their train of thought. Those are their beliefs. It matters. Just because they don't have to declare now at the city hall, it matters.
So what can we do?
Some of them won't declare, and when they won't declare, you can best believe they're Republican.
But I think that's going to change here too, because now most Republicans are so bold that they want everybody to know it. But like I said, if you look at the commercials that's been casted on the TV and radio ads during this election season for governor and state elections, the Republicans have they know in no shape, form, fashion look toward anything that a Democrat might want. Like the Roe versus Wade, we're not gonna kill our babies. We're not gonna turn away our gun laws. We're not gonna what's some of the other stuff? It was all kind of stuff that as a whole.
But they want to take the subject and put on a mask. But they want to take the subject and put on a mask. You can't take their guns laws away, but they can take your right to decide whether you have a child. But and ain't nothing in the Constitution about a mask. There's no constitutional rules or judgments about a doggone mask. But that's their body, right? That was the whole thing. That's their body. You can't force them. Mm-hmm. But when they talk about abortion, well, we're speaking up for that baby. We're that baby's voice.
It's only.
But when that baby gets here, you're not gonna even take care of that baby.
But these things are only created to sit for their own agendas. They really don't care about the fact about, like you said, the mask is a great comparison to put up there. They said, oh, we can't make people wear the mask. They run around, oh, this violation of my constitutional rights and this, that, and the other for wearing a mask that would possibly prevent you from actually killing another human being. And you had these people like up in arms about it. They acting a fool about wearing a mask and mask mandate. But here it is, it's a woman, her own body, which is hers and hers alone. You want to make decisions on that. And then you want to possibly lock her up in prison if she makes the decision for herself to go and have a procedure done that she feels will either save her life or give her an opportunity to make her life better at the moment so that she's better prepared.
But not just the woman on that one, Jesse. The doctor also. If the doctor performs the procedure, they get prosecuted also. So they when they want to do something, boy, they can stack the deck so that it is.
And see, this is when they do something like that. Right, when you see people do that, go to those type of links. This to me that signals to me desperation. What are they so desperate for? They are so desperate for the fact that they do not want to
save the majority. But it's too late now because most of their young ladies are the ones who helping to put melanated population. Some of them bring back dollars and dollars are the ones melanated population.
You want to know something, Veronica? They don't care at this point. They feel like this.
They feel like they can dilute them, I guess. They feel like they can dilute them back.
Yeah, they can do. They got to do something. They got to do something. You know, and they ain't gonna sit back and not do anything.
It's becoming brown, but brown inhabitants had this country to begin with. Brown people had this country to begin with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that's what it's always been about. Because think about it, most of us are 46 some years old. They've been saying back in the 80s and early 90s, by 20 so and so, this country will be a majority brown and black country. They've been saying it, and so they've been working on stuff like this as far as Roe versus Wade. But they've been fearful of it, and this is the only thing they can stop because they can't stop their little girls from going out there running behind those black boys like they do. But they've been trying to keep them as brown as light as they can, I guess, until they figure out a way to keep the majority. That's why nobody really still talks about those Russians down there in Florida having anchor babies and getting all kinds of set up good and well with it. But the Hispanics do it. It's an issue.
You know what? The fact of the matter is they don't care. They don't care about any of the things that we see as a little reasonable. There's no reason with these people. You know, all they care about is power. That is it, and they're in absolute panic about it, and that's why they're loving on Trump the way they're loving on him. You know, like I tell people, I've known of Trump since the '80s. I've known of Trump and his ways, and his racist ways, and his mentality. And I read a guy said, you know, rappers used to talk about Trump all the time. I wonder what happened. Boy, I was like, well, boy, do you not keep up with the time? First of all, yeah, the rappers up there in New York used to put Trump name and reference him and a lot of their lyrics. But as soon as he flipped on them kids, the Central Park 5 kids, they removed him from everything. Because then, see, they had to see it. They had to see it for themselves and feel it. They couldn't.
To be honest with you, they weren't necessarily on Trump itself. They were talking about his money.
Right. That's what I was about to get to.
You know what they were talking about Trump.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I was about to get to that. They was they was always referencing on rich like Trump or something like that. That's what they would reference on. But guess what? They removed everything. We don't want to talk about your money or nothing. There's nothing about you that we can give a flying flip about. After he made that statement and posted that ad in New York Times and everything else about them boys, they knew right then and there. See, they a lot of them they weren't old enough to really even understand what he did and him and his father, what they had did to the black community and their apartment buildings in Queens. They're way too young.
Even some elderly white people. I saw how when he put out an elderly white woman had the security throw that lady out. He has no empathy. He has no.
I'm telling you, Trump is about himself. He don't care about nobody but himself. And even it's only one that he would. I'm telling you now, it's only that daughter of his that he probably would hold his own for. He will hold his own for her. That's the only
mad at her now.
But yeah, he's mad at her now because see, she got caught up.
She had some kind of conscience about her.
Yeah, because the thing about it, she was sitting in front of federal folks. So she was scared. She knew not to say the wrong thing. She better say the truth. Because if she didn't, it's going to come back. Because once you get interviewed like that, you get questioned like that, you're under oath. No circumstance by Congress. You're under oath, so you can't lie. You know. And then once the DOJ gets a hold of it, they start slapping everybody with subpoenas, and now you can't even plead the fifth to avoid it. So there's a whole lot of stuff going to take place, like especially after today, which that girl came on there.
That girl's a hero, and it's fair to say she's a 25-year-old hero who has no help.
And no help with
need protection.
She was more brave than any man in that doggone administration. You know, now I ain't gonna say all of them, but she took a lot for her. That she the closest of all that came forward. You know, other than those the attorney generals that sat there and they did their job, and Secretary of State, they did their job. But this girl right here was just, she was doing her job. She was listening. Yeah, she was listening to all these conversations, and she was in the room. So it's not even changed her attorney. She even changed her attorney. Changed her attorney because attorneys that she had prior were more Trump supporters. So she removed them out of this. Oh, no, because I'm quite sure they was trying to alleviate some of the damage and try to control what she said. And I'm not quite sure she was like, oh, she wasn't that stupid. You're fired, and moved on. She said she's still a Republican, Republican at heart. But there are very few of them who still have an ounce of decency. But you know, the thing is, I don't care what you are. If you are an American, I say this. At some point, we gonna, as African Americans, we gonna get sick and tired of that, because we gonna start saying, look, don't call me African American, call me American. I'm an American. That's what I am. What are you? You know, if you're an American, you be an American. That's it. Are you Irish American? Are you British American? You calling us African Americans? A lot of Africans have said it. The thing about it, I start calling them white boys down my job. I call them European Americans, and they just look at me like, really? Yeah, really. You're a European American. Find out what part of Europe you're from. How about that? That's what you do. You know what I mean? Because see, you got these white folks in the southern state, in the southern hemisphere of this country. You know, they don't know what. Some of them just don't know where they're from, and the rest of them don't want to know. They want to hold on to white, and that's it. But you go to other parts like up north in Chicago, Detroit, and New York, up in that area. Now you got those European Americans up there. I'm Irish American. I'm Italian American. They own it. But you get down this way, the southern hemisphere, they ain't own jack. You know, and see, that's a testament of what this country is about and how these people see themselves and how they see us. Because you look on them applications, what do we see? What do it say? White or Caucasian, but mostly white. And there's African American, then there's Native American, and then there's Hispanic. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you want to label everybody but yourself. You want to put all y'all. Then most people need. There's the other, but the other is really for the other is like for mostly for the African Americans that don't want to say, the people that don't want to say what they are. You see what I'm saying? And you just check other. That's what I see, that other is being as just hiding who you are or just not admitting who you are. Majority of us need to get other anyway when you come down. I know that I got some in my family. Mm-hmm. I know that I got Native American in me, if you want to call them Native Americans, or they say indigenous people in me. Somewhere down the line, some West Indies in me. So African. Yeah. We got. I'm a melting pot. You know what I'm saying? If I really wanted to go through it. So, and majority of us are. My cousin, one of my first cousins, she did our ancestry, right? And she went back to our 5 great grandfather and great grandmother. My great grandfather was African. The grandmother was Native American. She was an Indian. So I tell people, look, I'm truly African American. What are you? I know what I am. I'm truly African American. Grandfather African, the great 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 grandmother, and Native American. So I'm truly from that, you know. But the fact of the matter is, I'm an American first and foremost.
Absolutely. You're not going to go to Africa,
No,
anywhere you live
what?
right now, and they're going to
I'm,
kill you.
they are. I would have to learn Africa, and then they would have to learn me. I'm here at home in my country. You understand? I know what the Constitution is. You know, if I was to join the military, I know I'm defending the Constitution, not some dude sitting in the White House. I'm defending everybody in my country. I'm fighting for the United States of America, and I'm upholding the Constitution. Them guys, those white guys sitting up in those positions of power in politics, they are there for money and self. They aren't there for the Constitution, especially the Republicans. They can care less about it. Only thing they want is power, because most of them come from rich families anyway. And if you ever look back,
That's precisely one of the things that we getting at right now, just about coming up with them overflipping, overturning the Roe versus Wade,
mhm,
the wants of a few
that's it.
is
The
what
power. It's the majority. The majority. At the day, they don't care.
and what is that so completely different than the ideal of what the United States is supposed to be about? That is the reason why the United States was formed in the first place. If I remember my history correctly, they tried to get away from tyranny like that. Is why they
That's a
came across
European. I
over.
was just gonna say, Mike, that's a European mentality. Because over there in Europe, back then, they believed the rich and powerful, the rich was supposed to be in power. They were